we really are stronger together. So stay inside. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, April the 27th, 2020, or as I like to think about it, my 47th day in captivity. And I'm sure you're feeling the effects of our self-isolation as well. So, moving right into what I've been up to this week. Well, oh, and by the way, this is vlog number 165, if anybody is counting. Yeah, I did a course online this week and created something that's really cool. The course is by a man named Peter Byrne. I think I've got his name right. He's a resident of Toronto, Canada, so not far from me. But he does offer workshops on doing, well, very artistic types of quilts. And he's got some very unique techniques. And he was offering, in this time of isolation, a free course to one of his quilts or one of his quilt styles and techniques called the hover quilt. And so I decided to take this course. And it was all done through Instagram, which mixed feelings on how well Instagram is for giving a course, but persevered and I got through it, and this is what I created. It's a wall hanging. And I'm kind of pleased with the way it turned out. My stitching isn't very good in it, and you'll notice it looks like it's fraying around some of the parts here. Well, it's supposed to. That's all part of the technique, because you cut out these pieces out of your corners and you round things and several different types of things you do with this. And it hangs on my wall now. And in this time of social isolation, I did not have a proper rod for this. I put a sleeve on the back of it, so I put two chopsticks together and and then colored them with a magic marker so they don't, and hung them on the wall. Simple as that. And you know, it works. So yeah, it's kind of a, he calls it a quilt block. I would call it fiber or textile art. Now he does make entire quilts in this style. I don't think I have the patience for that. It's not really my style, but I'm really glad that I did his course. And yeah, I think it would be better to take one of his courses in person, face to face. They're very expensive. He charges like $400 or $500 for a course. So, you know, we really got our money's worth because this was free. And I think he's going to offer some more courses online as well as time goes by, because he kind of surveyed all of us that took this course to see how we liked it and, you know, that kind of thing. And I did make this suggestion that I would thought that maybe in a format like Zoom or something where it's actually live and you can ask questions in real time might be better, because I had a few questions about how to do this. But, you know, given the environment that we're in right now, I think this went over quite well. So that was that project. Now you saw in the teaser that I had produced a banner that I have on my front door in support of our healthcare workers and essential workers and everybody during this time of isolation. And so you saw that in the opening teaser, and I don't want to go upstairs and take it off my door. So you'll just have to go back and look at that. And I'm working on this. Now, please don't take offense to the name of this. It is called a cock block. Well, I call it a cock block. It's a rooster, and it's paper pieced. And, you know, I think I've talked about paper piecing before, how I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. Well, once I got going on this, not too bad at all. And I'm going to make this into a quilt. I'm going to design some things around the outside of this. This will be the center of the quilt. And I think it'll look really quite nice when it's done. I'm really impressed with myself on this one. I am. I've had this pattern for quite a long time. I saw it on a YouTube video at one point. I went searching for it. Was not particularly easy to locate. I had to order it from a place in the States, and as far as I know, it was the only place you could get the pattern. But I was able to get it. It wasn't all that expensive, even with the exchange rate. But and it's made with scraps of fabric too on top of it all, so it's a perfect kind of project for when we can't get out to the quilt store and buy the things that we would normally go and buy. So yeah, so that's a project for this week to work on. I have several projects I'm working on all at the same time. And as you know, I've got about 6 different quilts I need to quilt, and I keep procrastinating about those because I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet and how I'm going to do them. And yeah, so my UFOs, unfinished objects, are starting to pile up. So we'll have to get on with that. But there's an event coming up this weekend, which I'm going to talk about a little later on, that might help get me on the road to catching up. Okay, so what else have I done this week? Oh yes, I created a Facebook page called Consumer Alerts. And I mentioned this last week, that what was really pissing me off were the way businesses were handling their client base, their customer base during this time of crisis. And some of them are going above and beyond the call of duty, and it's very hard for them, especially the smaller businesses, because, they're not getting any money. So I'm trying to support the smaller businesses, but I'm trying to support those businesses that are trying to support all of us during this time. And some are not. And you heard me talk about Shoppers Drug Mart last week, and you've heard me talk about the River Cruise Company, Emerald, which is a subsidiary of Scenic Tours. And we're still, by the way, waiting and basically fighting with River Cruise Company to get our money back. That's ongoing. And so I decided, I'd heard other people having some horror stories with different stores in the area and around, and I thought I'll set up a page for this. People can tell their story, and at the end of all of this, we will have a record of those businesses that deserve for our support after the crisis is over and those that don't. And basically based upon how they've treated their customer base during this whole time. And I've shared some stories there. I've had quite a few people look at the page, and I've had, nobody's really done a lot of liking, but nobody's made too many comments. I think there's only one other comment on there about an experience someone had. I'm hoping it will grow, and it's not just to be negative. If there's stores that you feel deserve merit, then you can list them on there too and talk about why these stores are, going above and beyond the call of duty during this time. So we'll have the good stores and the bad stores there. And, it just will help us to make up our minds about who we're going to support after this crisis is over. So it's on there if you're interested in looking at it. I mean, it's worldwide because it's on Facebook. I sort of directed more towards my area. But, there's nothing saying it can't be a worldwide kind of thing. Like I mentioned, the River Cruise Company on there. And they're based out of Australia. They do have an outlet in British Columbia, Canada, too. But, that's a bigger scale kind of thing, too. So if you're interested, just do a search on Facebook for Consumer Alerts. Now, you're going to find a whole bunch of pages called Consumer Alerts. But look for mine. You'll know because you'll see my name in it. And if you've got something to share wherever you are in the world, go ahead, put it on there. If anything, it allows you to get it off your chest, so you don't feel like basically you're being taken advantage of. It may not change the situation any, but hey, if it makes you feel better, go for it. Okay, so speaking of feeling better, have discovered this YouTube channel, which is based upon a television series in the United Kingdom called Taskmaster. It's quite funny. It's basically these two guys that host the show set up tasks for people to do in their own homes. They give them about 30 hours to complete. And the tasks are very imaginative, certainly inspire people to be imaginative and creative as well. So check it out. The YouTube channel of the week is called Taskmaster, and if you're looking for something that's funny and entertaining, then you'll want to check out this YouTube channel. This is a channel based upon a popular BBC show called Taskmaster, where the hosts assign a panel of celebrity comedians tasks to perform. Now, they're usually very ridiculous and very, very funny, But they also have a home version now, where they challenge anybody out in YouTube land to complete a task within 30 hours and to send in their little video clip of what they have done. For example, some of the tasks have been change your bathroom into a disco or bar, change your bed into something else, and there's all kinds of different tasks, and people from around the globe have been participating in this, and their results are both hilarious and extremely creative. So if you want something that's entertaining, something that is just fun to watch, then check out Taskmaster. So the link for Taskmaster is listed below, and when you go there, explore some other of the videos that are on there, because they actually have full episodes of their television program, and they're quite entertaining. Other things that are quite entertaining, of course, Stephen and Walter Live. This week we got a little bit more serious. We talked about how isolation can lead to depression and how you can avoid depression, and I found several articles from different, legitimate institutions that talked about things that you can do to avoid depression during this time of isolation. And looking at this right now, oh God, do I need a haircut bad. That's depressing me. Okay, and the book of the week will be listed there as well. We'll come to that in a minute. So that takes us to what's pissing me off this week. Well, let's talk about Yahoos. Okay. In fact, our premier of our province, Doug Ford, has been talking about the Yahoos as well. And although I am not particularly fond of this man, I will say one thing for him. During this crisis, I think he has really stepped up to the plate here. And, he's trying, I think, his best to, get in there and fight for Ontarians. But there were a bunch of Ontarians who thought it should be their right to go to Queen's Park. Queen's Park is in the center of Toronto. That's where our our legislature is located. And they went there on the weekend to protest with their signs about the whole isolation thing and the quarantine. They want everything opened right back up again now. Yeah. We have not in this province yet peaked. They keep talking about this magical event, the peaking, and then the decrease of new cases is supposed to be the sign of something, sign of hope, I guess, that this thing could be over. But I think any reasonable person, if you use logic, if you listen to the science experts, the health experts, that kind of thing, as much as we don't want to admit to it, this thing is not going to be over tomorrow. It's going to take some time. Everybody's looking for that magic date when everything will go back to normal. Well, nobody can give us that magic date because we don't know what that is. I also don't think we're ever going to go back to normal. There will be a new normal. And I might mention this a little bit later on in today's vlog. But back to these Yahoos. They're standing there with their picket signs. They're thinking that their civil liberties have been, stepped on. One thing you have to understand about us in Canada, a lot of people think we're just like the United States, and you've heard me say that before, and we are not. They have a constitution that protects a lot of rights and freedoms. We also have a constitution. In the history of things, our constitution is relatively new. It only came out in the early 80s. It's more of a human rights bill, but we don't have a lot of things put into print that say we can do this and we can't do that. I guess maybe our government feels that we are logical, rational, thinking human beings who are reasonable. Well, maybe they're wrong, because these Yahoos are out protesting this. What do they think is going to happen? What are they, the no-vaxxers out there, ones that don't want to get vaccines for anything because it'll lead to autism or, kill them or something like that? It's just absolutely ridiculous. Talk about your rednecks, okay? And I don't know about you, but I think most of the world does not look at Canada and think we're full of rednecks. Well, I guess we have them. There they are. And so rightfully so, and I'll give him credit for this, as a politician, Doug Ford did not pussyfoot around this issue. He called a Yahoo. He used the word. And good for him, because that's exactly what they are. They're Yahoos. The ironic thing is, I'll bet you these are the same people that voted him into office as well. because it was Yahoos who put him into office, I'm sorry to say. But then you look south of our border and you look down into states like Georgia and Tennessee, and from what we're hearing up here is that they're in a big push to open up their stores and open up their restaurants and things like that. A sane person knows that is not the path to go to right now. Yes, we would love to be able to go out for dinner again. Yes, we would love to be able to go out without a mask on. We would love to get together with our friends and our family and do all the things we used to do as social creatures, because we are social creatures. But we can't. As our Prime Minister, Trudeau, said in one of his morning State of the Country talks, he says, we have to be cautious. We don't want to undo all the things we've done already. We've been in isolation officially for about 6 weeks now, maybe going into 7. And it is having an effect. I mean, a positive effect on this disease. So suddenly you open everything back up, bang, second wave hits, everybody's got it again, and it could be worse than the first wave. I mean, I have heard, and now I'd have to check my facts on this, but when the Spanish flu back in 1917 hit, people started to go back to normal life again very quickly, and the second wave came and it was worse than the first wave. It wiped out all kinds of people. Do we want to take that risk? So this is what I'm saying. They are Yahoos. Yeah, you want an example of a Yahoo, though? And need I say more? Just his name, Trump. I mean, yes, let's all inject ourselves with Lysol, shall we? That's going to cure this disease. Mental, can we say stupid? I mean, then he tries to come back and say, yeah, he's just being sarcastic. I don't think he knows how to spell the word sarcastic. He doesn't know what it is. Just stupid. And that's what a Yahoo does, right? So, I'm so fed up with people who think that they have a right, and I've said this before too, they have a right to go out and murder other people. Because that's what you're doing. If you get the disease and you give it to other people, you're basically murdering them. So don't be a Yahoo. It's simple as that. Okay, so moving on. What's new? Well, not a lot of things, because of course we can't really go shopping, or can we? Because there's always Amazon, isn't there? Now, I've been a user of Amazon for years. I love Amazon, quite frankly. And yes, I know everybody talks about, it's Amazon and things like that that are going to put all the brick and mortar stores out of business and that kind of thing. And yes, they probably will. I know that. But I'm not going to stop buying from them. Because as far as I'm concerned, Amazon's got the retail market down pat. Prices are usually reasonable. Usually. Sometimes you got to be careful. They have good return policies. They stand behind everything that you get. Their delivery time, even right now, their delivery time, even though I have Prime, is a little bit more delayed because they are moving around essential items as well, and that's fine. I can put up with that. But for the most part, Amazon has treated me well. So I will continue to support them, and I'll probably support them even more after this crisis is over, because now it's almost becoming, oh, I want that. I guess I'll go on Amazon and see if I can get it. And I do, and I usually can. So we have bought a few things. One of the things I needed was I was getting low on paper for my printers. Now I usually buy my paper from Costco. Costco has not been as reliable. We have ordered a few things from Costco online. The selection is not as good, of course, as it is in the store. They do have a delivery charge, and some things they just won't even deliver to you. Like, for example, we have a Costco 2 miles away from us, I guess. Walter tried to order flour from them. No, it wasn't that they were out. They won't deliver it. They don't tell you why, but they wouldn't deliver the flour to our address. And the only thing we can think of is because they figure you've got a Costco so close to you, you don't need to have it delivered. Well, I'm not going down to Costco and stand in line and do all of that kind of stuff. So, fine. We don't really need flour right now. We have quite a bit of it because we, just before all of this happened, we had just bought a 40-pound bag of flour. Just because we were in Costco and we needed flour, and that's what you get it in. It wasn't anything to do with like stockpiling or anything for this, because when we bought it, this wasn't this. So, anyways, I'm not that impressed with Costco, but I love their paper. Their printer paper is really good quality, and I always buy it at the store. Well, I could have bought it online, but I needed to buy like about $200 worth of it because they considered that a business item, and so I had to buy it by the case. So I went on Amazon, and I could get 3 reams, which is 500 sheet packages, 3 500 sheet packages for, I think it was $23. It took a little while to get. It was coming from South Carolina, which I went through Amazon.ca, but the paper was coming from the States. But I did get it, and it's fine. In fact, we ordered a little bit more. Might as well work ahead. I mean, I don't go through that much paper that fast, but that's something that, as far as I'm concerned, is a necessity, and you don't want to run short. So we got that. I have ordered other things. I've been ordering so many things from Amazon that I keep a list with the dates when they're supposed to be coming, and every week I've got something coming. And in fact, after I'm finished this today, I'm going on to Amazon because there's a couple of other things I thought of that I might want, and I'm going to check out the prices for that. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of shopping on Amazon. Now, Walter's been doing a lot of shopping on Amazon too, but he doesn't always tell me what he's ordered or when he ordered. So the other day, I came up from downstairs from my sewing room, and lo and behold, where Alexa usually sits, there's an Alexa on steroids sitting in that spot instead. We had standard Alexa. Well, Walter's never been fond of the sound that comes from that one as far as speakers are concerned. Now, we actually have the Alexa hooked into our stereo system, and we have a fairly sophisticated stereo system, but for some reason, the stereo system and Alexa do not like to talk to each other. And Alexa sometimes likes to take over and control the stereo system, not in the way we want her to control it. So we sort of gave up on it. If we asked Alexa, because I've got a subscription to Amazon Music, which, by the way, I think is worth the money for that. So it's another plug for Amazon here, people. So we have Amazon Music, and so when we're upstairs, if we want to listen to stereo, we'll do it through Alexa. Now, the speakers that are in the standard Alexa aren't bad, but Alexa on steroids, which is much bigger, it's about 3 times the size of the regular Alexa, but it's got about 4 or 5 different speakers, I think, in it, and there's a subwoofer in it and all this kind of stuff, and Walter's all about the bass. So it's nice. The sound in it is very, very good. It's also twice the price of a standard Alexa. But what are we going to do with the old Alexa? Well, once the warmer weather comes and we can sit on our patio, that Alexa is going to be part of the patio setting. So anyways, he bought that. And I don't know what else he buys on there, but yeah, I love shopping on Amazon. That's it. It's nice. It comes to the door. It's nice. I think if you heard that little rumble, that's my tummy. Think I need something to eat. Okay, so that's about all. I have a few other things on order, and when they come, I'll show them to you. All right, so that takes us to the book of the week. This is a good one for me. It's called The Art of Mistakes, because when I do artwork, I make a lot of mistakes. And you want to know something? That's the joy of doing art. If you want everything to be perfect, don't do art, because it's never going to be perfect. You got to experiment, right? Well, this is basically what this book is about. It's about taking things that are an oops, a mistake, and making them into something beautiful. And it talks about different techniques and things you can do. It's a very creative book. It's very inspiring. And I highly recommend it because it really gives you a lot of techniques and ideas for things that you can do. Now, although it's called The Art of Mistakes, in a sense, these are planned mistakes. But it's just another idea book for your arsenal. And during this time of isolation, we need all the creative inspiration we can get, so this will help give you some of that. Now, I originally paid for this $27.99 Canadian. I went on Amazon, as I do, and guess what? It is available, and it's available for $11.99. Now, plus shipping. I'm not sure what the shipping charge is on it. That's in Canadian dollars, by the way. But it is available, and I highly recommend it. And it's by, the author is Melanie Rothschild. So again, The Art of Mistakes. And there's a link to the Amazon, where you can get it on Amazon in the show notes. Okay, so that takes us to the next section in our works in progress, my grimoire, which it's getting kind of full, and I've still got a lot of pages to go. But here's this week's installment. Okay, so I have finished pages 9 and 10 in the grimoire, and I'll just show you what I did with this. Now, keeping in mind that I'm trying to keep my elements fairly flat, because my grimoire will not shut if I have 3D embellishments on every page. So what I've done is I've done a lot of layering of elements here to give a dimensional look, but to keep it also fairly flat. So on this page, I found a couple of tarot cards that came from that book I showed you earlier, the Wizardry book. And these were in a little package in that book, and I thought, well, these are kind of cute. Let's use those. But I wanted to be able to make it interactive so you could pull the cards out, just as I have already. So I found a couple of coin envelopes that I tore the tops off, and then I crumpled them up a little bit and aged them with walnut stain distress ink. And I just glued them down, and they hold these little cards quite nicely. Now, I didn't like the look of just the envelopes themselves sitting in space, so I found a picture in that Wizardry book, and I scanned it into my computer and printed it out, of a girl looking into a crystal ball, because tarot cards, crystal ball, fortune telling, it all sort of goes together. And then to add more dimension to this, I layered some elements of herbs, some butterflies. You know I love butterflies as an embellishment, and found this little saying, the best thing to hold on to in life is each other, which kind of echoes what's on this page, and you'll see that in a second. So by layering these, I've kept the page relatively flat. I've made a little bit interactive with the cards that you can pull out, and my book will be able to close. On this page, it was one of the pages that had a pocket in it for a tag, so I have a tag already that I had previously made, and on that tag I added the Tim Holtz paper doll sets. No, sorry, this isn't Tim Holtz. This is Mike Deacon's, one of his printable elements that I bought some time ago, and I just aged it, and I tucked in this little love spell as well. I thought it kind of went along with the picture. So my grimoire is not all evil. Okay, my grimoire looks at things from maybe a Wiccan perspective. I guess they're good witches or whatever. Added the ribbon on it, and that ribbon will hang outside of the grimoire when it's closed. And again, it just adds another element of interest, I think, when the whole book comes together. To cover up the pocket that this is tucked into, I added some more of these little floral embellishments. I think these might be from one of Tim Holtz's ephemera packs. And I had this little card that I printed out when I was looking for spells, and this is called Protection Herbs. And so I just tucked that in there as well. Now, this particular page in this Graphic 45 album that I'm using does have pockets in between pages in some cases, and so this one had one of those pockets, and I just created this little card. I had printed this out some time ago, a bit of a mystic looking background. Added some of Tim Holtz's paper dolls here, these kind of creepy twins, and added Past Life Spell onto this as well. I did tear the edge, and I aged it, as you can see, and that tucks right into this pocket. This tucks right into this pocket, just like that. And I'm letting the torn edge hang out a little bit just to give some dimension. So you can see when you close this, it is getting kind of thick, but you have these elements that stick out at the edges and at the top, which I think add a little bit more of a mystery. It gives it a sense that this has been used. Now, I may run into one problem. I may have to take out one or two of these pages further on in order to make room if I add any more dimensional elements so that it will close up. But right now I'm going to leave that. So that was pages 9 and 10, and in the next segment we'll work on the next set of pages. So that takes us to what's been happening in the past week. Update on my mother, she is fine. She's actually sounding pretty good. The last few times I've talked to her on the phone, she sounds more like my mother. It's either that or I'm just getting used to it. I don't know. She's still safe. Thank goodness there still has not been any outbreaks in her nursing home. They have been extremely great. In fact, they just sent us an email the other day. They're going to establish a Facebook page, just a private one, for friends and families of the residents in the nursing home. And I'm not really absolutely sure how this is going to work, but they said we had to give them permission. There was a form to fill out that said, we give permission for you to show pictures of our family members that are there. They're going to keep us up to date on what they're doing in the nursing home. And I guess we can write messages possibly to other people who are on that Facebook. Now, we did have to agree. There was actually a 2-page document saying, we're not going to mean mouth anybody. We're not going to try to sell anything. We're not getting into politics on here. All kinds of stuff like that, which I get it. That's fine. I could see some people using it as a base for, just bitching about the healthcare system and the whole thing. And believe me, there's lots to be said about the flaws that are in our elderly care part of the healthcare system. But that's not what this Facebook page is for. It's just another way to keep people, since we can't go in to visit our families that are family members that are in the nursing home, it's just another way to keep us linked with them. And I think that's a good idea. So I have to say, and I've said this many times, and I can't say it too often, I am so impressed and so pleased with the way my mother's nursing home has been looking after her and the whole situation. And there's something a little bit ironic about that, because when Mom got put on the list to go into nursing homes, this particular one was not on our list. You get to choose 4 or 5 places, and then they rank them. Well, the ones that I had on her list were all long wait times, and then we discovered we did not have enough time to wait for this. And so I put this one on the list because I knew that she could get into it quicker. But I was iffy about it because I'd heard bad things about it over the years. But apparently it had been just taken over by a different organization, and they did a lot to improve it. And you want to know something? I'm so glad she's there. Because if she'd gotten into one of the ones that was higher on the list, it's had an outbreak. And they've had deaths from it. So, God works in mysterious ways. So there you go. So she's good. She's fine. I'll have to remember to ask her how her roommate's doing. She's got a lovely lady who she shares the room with, and she's the one that I made the quilt for. That, of course, she hasn't got the quilt yet because I can't go over there to give it to her because she can't get in, rightly so. But I will eventually. But I should ask her next time I'm talking to her, my mother, on the phone. I'll ask her how Peggy's doing. So what else? Well, Walter's been cooking bread like it's coming out of his yin-yang. So he was doing a lot of crusty French loaves for a while. I was getting a little tired of those. They're good, but same old bread, Never eaten so much bread. And I hear that's what everybody's doing these days. Everybody's into bread making, and apparently there's a shortage of flour now and yeast because of it. But anyways, Walter did a couple of different kinds of breads in the past week. He made a cheese bread. And I've got a little video I'm going to show you here of what his cheese bread looked like. And it's delicious. And he's going to make some more of that. And we had some bananas that were starting to go. So he made banana bread. But he did the banana bread in the bread maker. And that turned out pretty nice too. So here's what his cheese bread looks like. So what you making?
I'm trying to make cheese bread, but it doesn't seem to be working that great.
Oh, it's conglomerate. Well, I'm sure it will taste fine. It just may look weird. Cheesy, very cheesy. Well, we'll check this later. And here's the next stage of Walter's cheesy bread. It looks very good. Not really the way you were thinking it was going to look, but...
No, that's the way I was sort of thinking it was going to look.
Oh, I didn't think it was. Well, anyways, it looks good. It's raw.
Yeah, well, not done yet. Got to cook it now.
So I forgot to take a picture of the cheese bread before it was cut up, but here's what it looks like with a little butter. Looks very good. And if you're wondering what we're eating right here, we're having pork schnitzel with spezel and hunter sauce, which is basically mushroom gravy. Yeah, that was really good. And as I said, he's going to make some more. So that takes us to, there was nothing else during the week that was anything I can think of that really stands out in my mind. But what's coming up? Well, this is kind of exciting. You know that I belong to this group called the Quilters Way, which is a paid membership group for quilters. A friend of mine out west, she started this up about a year and a half ago. A year and a half ago now? Probably running on to almost 2 years. But and we usually, as a group, besides other things, it's great. Check it out. If you're a quilter, you should really check it out. Just look for the Quilters Way. There's courses on there. It's very inexpensive. I think it runs you about $14 a month Canadian. It's about $11.99, I think, US. It's well worth the money. I don't usually like to subscribe to anything online. I have in the past and didn't get my money's worth, but this, guaranteed, get my money's worth all the time. And I've really made some friends there from the United States and other parts of Canada, and there's some from, it goes all the way around the world, but primarily most of the people on there are from, the States or Canada. And we get together, well, it used to be every other Friday through Zoom, using Zoom, to discuss what we're working on. Kim, who is the organizer, the owner of this site, she usually does a tutorial about some technique, and it's great. We share our projects and things like that. Well, now she's decided that she's going to do the Zoom every Friday, and it's a couple of hours long in the middle of the afternoon. Well, middle of the afternoon my time. It varies, of course, where you're located on the time, in the time zones. And it's nice. It's a way to get together with people. And as I said, there's a sort of a core group of us that we have become friends, although we have never physically met. It feels like we've known each other for years. Anyways, Kim has decided we're going to do a virtual retreat next weekend, all weekend long. And so she has it all set up and organized, and it should be a lot of fun. So earlier in the vlog today, I mentioned the fact that I've got all these unfinished objects, and especially I need to do some quilting. So I'm thinking this will be a great opportunity to start doing some quilting, as in getting my quilts finished. So, but either way, it'll be an interesting experience. And yeah, so I'll let you know how that all turns out after it happens. And so, what else is coming up? Well, that's about it that I can think of. Of course, Stephen and Walter Live next Sunday as well. Not sure what our topic's going to be. Lately, I don't come up with the topic until the last minute. And it's hard to know what people are interested in. And so if you're one of my regulars that watches Stephen and Walter Live, and if you're not one of the regulars, check us out. 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It costs you nothing, so go for it. Yeah, I don't have Super Chat set up on it or not. I have thought about trying that, but yeah, I mean, I feel that would be people, well, first of all, it might make me feel bad because no one's donating anything to me. And two, I don't know, I could have people donate on the Super Chat and, donate it to a charity or something like that. I don't know. I'm not begging for money. I don't need it. Okay. I do have a problem with these Super Chats that basically YouTube gets a portion of that. A lot of people have a lot of money to throw around on Super Chats. I don't really get the philosophy of it myself because I guess they feel they're getting their money's worth. So, that's why I'd be conscious about if I put up a super chat. I would want to make sure people are getting something for that money. And right now, I can't guarantee that kind of thing. So, no, not going to do a super chat. So we're still free. So join us. So, yeah. So just before I let you go, I have a final note. And it has to go on with what I was saying earlier about Yahoos and stuff. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. And to anybody with a rational mind, this is nothing startling. We're in this for a while, people. It's not going to be over next week. It's not going to be over at the end of May. I anticipate that we are going to be in this well into the summer, possibly into the fall. This is going to be the new norm. Okay? Until they get some kind of medical treatment that's going to protect us, we're in this situation. I know it is hard. I know we would all love to, have that freedom again that we were used to. But as I said earlier, if we go open things up too soon, it's going to be worse for us. We will have undone everything we have put into this. So we have to stay the course. It's not, when we look back on this, what side of this do we want to be on? Do we want to be those who persevered and got through this? Or do we want to be a Yahoo who ended up making this situation even worse by not doing social distancing, by not doing self-isolation, by not doing the quarantining? What side of history do we want to be on, really? So, let's get used to this, because this is the new norm. Let's handle it the best we can. Let's stop our whining about this, because that just adds to our depression. And let's look for those things that are inspiring, that give us an opportunity to really tap into our creative and imaginative selves. Let's appreciate what we have right now and work with that instead of whining about what we wish things were like. Because wishing is just that. It's only wishing. And it just gets us frustrated because wishes don't come true. Sorry. Just popped your bubble on that one, didn't I? But yeah, I feel the way everybody else does. I wish it would go. Oops, I used that word, wish. Well, it's not going to happen. The only way we're going to get out of this is if we persevere. So let's persevere. So, on that note, I hope you have a good week. I hope you do something different this week. Something safe, but something different. And enjoy it while you've got the chance. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.